to another small pond replay, this time a 1v1 against the two top dogs of the small pond. It's Jazz against Richard. The map is a tiny two-player map, 4 lakes. It's the first 1v1 we've done on the channel. It'll be really interesting to see how this gets on. Exciting to see these two titans battle it out. We're going to start by looking through civs as we usually do. We'll start with Jazz, who has chosen the Persians. The Persians, a very decent cavalry civ, Jazz's current favourite civ to choose her weapon of choice at the moment. The unique unit of the war elephant will be interesting. I think the main thing to watch is those crossbows, those very cheap, only costing wood as you get into the Imperial Age. As for Richard, he's gone for the Indians this time, the camel and gunpowder civilization, with the elephant archers and Imperial camel riders as their unique units. Again, maybe looking to counter Jazz's Persians, her cavalry being countered by the Imperial camels and the elephant archer maybe to counter those crossbows. But we'll see how they get on. It's going to be interesting to see who wins this. It's going to be close, no doubt. So here we go. Now, as with any AOE game, the start is always the most important. Getting through that Dark Age quick as you can. And here we go. We're looking at Richard's screen at the moment. Houses are straight up. For Jazz, again, both houses on the way. She's only got 2 cows that she can see at the moment, so that's going to cost her a bit of time, and they're not even hers yet. It's going to cost her, but she's going for wood to start with. The 2 cows are now hers. Meanwhile, Richard's already gathering food for his. The thing with Jazz is that she does have the advantage of starting with 50 extra wood and food as one of the bonuses of being the Persians. Quick look on the villager count, they're level with 5 each. I'm going to just take the fog of war off now. As you can see, it's 4 lakes, 4 in the corner. They can be a good source of food if you want to use them. Richard's just not keeping that cow wide, maybe just as a point of scouting. Richard does have to scout with his herdables. Jazz, meanwhile, got all her villagers onto food now. Meanwhile, Richard using his cows to scout the area. Such a tiny map, it means you're going to get battles very early on in this. So it is so important to get up to feudal as quick as you can, get your military ready and prepare to rush or defend a rush. Jazz has found more cows, that should be helpful. The lumber camp's going up, which is now 6 and 2. Well, that's Richard, sorry, who's 6 and 2. Jazz is currently 7 and 2. But they're still level on the villager count and rising quite equally, both on 10, both on 11. Incredible, they're side by side at the minute, neck and neck. Look at the score count. And Richard leading the way just slightly. Again, very good management of their TCs. Jazz has now gone for loom, which is creating 2 more villagers. So Richard's now taken a 1 villager lead. 4th house going up by Jazz. She's up and out. Oh, just getting a few more houses. And well, that's the boar. Just lured the boar well. The village is onto it, and the boar is down. So Richard still on his cows. He's now currently got 11 on food, 10 on food, 11 on food, 6 on wood. The boar has been lured right under the TC. That's a good play from Richard. 1 person working on the mine meanwhile. Now Richard has made the better start, but Jazz has overtaken on the villager front. However, she's got a lot of idols. Oh, Doc's gone up from Richard, so he may be looking to get these. Look at all this food here. Look at plenty of fish. Now, Richard does have that bonus with the Indians of their cheaper villages, 10% less in Dark Age, which is going to be so important and get more, as many villages out as you can. Now the scout, let's see what Richard can see. He has found Jazz. Has Jazz found Richard? Yes, so they both know where each other are, and Richard is already up to feudal. That was a good time. Jazz will surely follow soon enough. She is researching it on 80%. Up again. No, oh, Richard has got a barracks ready with some troops garrisoned inside. Jazz likewise. Jazz is up to feudal. Something going on down here. Oh, very interesting enough. Jazz going to just spreading herself out a bit. It's so important to do that when you're playing, especially on a small map. You want to cover as much of it as possible, take as many resources as you can. Richard's got the fishing ships out. Oh, and Richard's coming in with three men at arms. They've been spotted by those militia, but the men at arms will surely make mincemeat of those militia, and Jazz will be in trouble here. And he's got to manage them carefully, and he's going for that villager there.
Oh my dear.
And she's going to try and make it back. I don't think she'll get back to the CC in time though. Well, maybe. She might just about get in there. Probably not managed those now yet. Let's get away from that TC. Just try and find some of her. Oh, that's fantastic building there from Jazz. She's built those houses right around her lumber camp, so it's going to be difficult. Yeah, and indeed Richard's forced to attack those houses, which he wouldn't have wanted to do. He'd rather be getting in there and mixing it up with the villagers. But he's now just going to do that, maybe to just wind Jazz up a bit, cause a few problems. The stable's gone up, the archery range is up, and Jazz needs to get some counter units. That house is going down, and if that house goes down, Jazz's lumber camp's going to be in trouble. Meanwhile, his scout has gone down, maybe just trying to attack those villagers who are having none of it. That house is nearly down. Richard has gone into the same pool at the top, the same little pond as Jazz has, to try and get all that fish. And this castle's going down, but it has just bought Jazz some time. She's got the scout cabs, now she needs to direct them here. Richard is trying to take out those villas, and it looks like he might have to get one. And one goes down. Come on Jazz, you've got to get those scouts moving. The villagers are retreating. This has been a very good rush from Richard. And TC's going to take one down. Maybe? No. There goes another. And there's men at arms. There's just one left. But that has really disrupted Jazz's eco. Maybe those scout cabs just weren't moved quick enough to take on. Been a bit earlier, would have saved a couple of villages there. But in that time, surely Richard has built a force. He's got a few troops waiting in this barracks. He's walling up as well. Jazz, meanwhile, has got a couple more military buildings up and about. Just training some troops. The wall of houses is going back up. I'm going to speed it along now, keeping an eye. Wall is up. That's just going to buy Richard some time, maybe, to prevent any sort of feudal attacks from Jazz. Now she looks like she's going to send some scouts in, just get them ready. Meanwhile down here Jazz has got another dock up, getting that food source there. And Richard taking the gold, and decent little base here. Meanwhile Jazz has sent scouts round the back, and here they go, being intercepted by a couple of scouts. Jazz will have only eyes for the villagers. Men-at-arms coming to support. Those scouts may struggle. One villager down. Taking a look at the villager count. Richard's still almost up. Still, 48 to 28. And Richard trying to hit. Jazz got to manage those scouts better. Villagers seem to be... I don't know what's going on here, but there's not a lot happening. More scouts coming in now. That's good from Jazz, and those villagers not going down yet. They may get maybe a couple. There's another one. But Jazz still lagging behind in terms of villager count. And looks like all those scouts are going to go down as well. The spearmen are out. Those are the men-at-arms. And down they go. Richard on 48 villagers, Jazz on 28. The military count as well, Richard 11 to 5. And Richard meanwhile has walled up with houses. It's just going to make that rushing or getting in behind Jazz a bit trickier. And on the score count he is running away. Here come the scouts. Another dot gone up from Jazz at the top. Two scouts coming in just to try and upset Jazz a bit. They've been intercepted. Richard's realised that's not going to really do much and he's pulling back. Wise decision. And here they come back for a second try, but they're just going to run into trouble. And down they go. Well defended now after that first initial rush. Richard struggling to neither side able to break through. And Jazz has got up to castle before Richard, despite Richard having a higher villager count, but he's been focusing on those attacks, micromanaging those attacks. That's slowed him down a little bit. Richard's pinged over there, I don't know why, maybe looking at... maybe trying to alert Jazz to something. It's all gone quiet. Look at those. Let's have a look at this military count. And at the moment, Richard mainly infantry, Jazz mainly archers and cav. Richard's now joined us in Castle Age. After that early sort of couple of spats in feudal, as we get into Castle Age, it's all quiet as both teams try to build up, and cavalry just escaped that scout, so I don't think Richard knows they're there. Maybe an attempt at a raid on Richard's eco. Knights and scout cavalry, they're expensive units to lose. Knights, you've got to treat them with care, look after them, manage them well. Is there a way in? I don't think there is. Richard has walled all the way around. Jazz will have a look, but will do so in vain. Richard's got a villager in behind here and has got the dock up. He's only gone for a dock at the moment. Maybe just trying to get some of that fish, but he's building a dock there. I wonder if Jazz knows. Jazz will know he's there now, but he can build in any of this space virtually undetected. Meanwhile, scout cabs and knights are struggling to find a way through. They've found the palisade wall just in there, but there's not enough room to knock them down. Those spearmen are going to wait, those camels are going to wait. I find it tricky. There's some archers. Another TC's going up. Jazz has caught up on the score, only 500 behind now. Meanwhile, there's some light blue up here, which are building a stable and will look to attack from the top of the map. The dock has gone up. There is something in there. Now I have a feeling that's not exactly going to be a fishing ship. Go back to villager count. And Jazz is still lagging behind, but has caught up a little bit. Now the stable is up. Jazz can't see this. It's just the most horrendous feeling when you realise a base has been built inside or behind your base. Meanwhile, camels and scouts attacking Jazz's archery range. Jazz's forward base. Oh, look at Jazz pushed out. She's got barracks, 4 barracks going up. Whether Richard knows this, let's have a look. Richard knows there's 1 there, doesn't realise there's 4. He'll look to try and get that down before it gets any bigger. Bit of a battle of wits going on over here. Jazz decided to pull back from it. Skirm's there to counter her crossbows. Very peaceful on the waters. No one deciding to get any military. Let's see, it looks like some demolition rafts. Jazz is just going to go and blow up that dock, no doubt. Here they go. Didn't leave too much of a mark. Meanwhile, Jazz's eco being hit by some cavalry. Knights have come to intercept, and they should do the damage on the light cabs, and together they've knocked out the camel, they've defended it well. And here Jazz meanwhile still got the troop, about 10, just lurking around the walls, trying to find a way in. I don't know if she can see. We go to Jazz's fog of war. Now she's not aware, but there is. If she could hit this, even just to knock out those villagers mining that stone, that is going to frustrate or wind Richard up a bit. There's the weak spot, and Richard very wisely putting a lot of troops behind it, mostly anti-cav units, anti-archer units. Jazz will attack it with knights, pikemen, crossbows. Meanwhile, the fire galleys have been put up by Richard as we expected. He was garrisoning something very nasty in there. The fire galleys look to have taken down all of Jazz's fishing ships in this lake. She's got 2 demolition rafts garrisoned inside. Oh, and the light cavalry are in. They look to have taken out a huge chunk of villagers. Indeed, Jazz is down to 36. Jazz has meanwhile broken through at Richard's base and will begin knocking villagers down, but in it's a very tricky one. It's who's going to destroy who first. Richard, it's those cabs, the 2 stables up there now and a university, pumping out cavalry to come from the top and catch Jazz unawares. I'm not sure she's aware there's cavalry in her base, because they're just trotting through at a canter and not really. And Jazz has noticed it now. She's rung the bell. Which could continue to just knock out some of those buildings. Meanwhile, Jazz doing the same to Richard. It's a bit difficult in this situation. Do you stick or twist? The castle looks like it's going to go up here, and that might just help with the defence for Richard. Has Jazz got a castle yet? I don't think she has. Nothing going on here in terms of castles, but Richard pushing through, but his scouts have been picked up by some pikemen. Jazz's knights and crossbows in a spot of bother. They've got to avoid that castle. Oh, and attempt at a castle drop from Jazz has not gone to plan. There is a scout that will look to knock it out. Those pikemen just need to go and just knock that out, knock that scout out, get some villagers on it, but she may have something in the pipeline. Well, Richard's villagers pushing forward in search of more resources, maybe in attempt to build a bit more around Jazz and pen her in. These fishing ships still going peacefully. Well, castle's gone up inside Jazz's town. That'll help defend. Maybe looking to get some war elephants out. Put them in the mix. Crossbows and skirms. The skirms aren't really focusing though. And against those knights they've got little chance. Eco's been a bit stalled. That castle's still standing, although it needs to be built. Richard's military. Jazz has more military units in it, 22 to 17. Now Jazz will hit more of Richard's eco, those fishing ships getting sunk. Camels though to come out and just knock those crossbows away. Well, Richard's still got that little get up there and Jazz has no idea. Looks like all the fish are gone. Nothing going on in that pond over there. It's all gone quiet again. Villager trying to build it, but he's going to be taken out by that light cav. More pressure now. Just getting the war elephants out. Again, Richard leading the way in terms of military count. In these kind of situations, it really is stick or twist. That castle meanwhile has been destroyed. Jazz will not be happy. That's a lot of gold wasted. But again, they're not too far away in terms of scoring. They're close. Richard sending the cavalry in the fast pace, trying to raid Jazz's village, take out a lot of villagers, hurt her economy. Hold them there and just wait. Gather up a big force, send them all in one go maybe. Jazz has got the means to defend it though, pikemen, elephants. Still chopping down here. She has spread her eco out well. Jazz is about to rain fire on those fishing ships. The fire galleys getting up and ready. I don't know if Richard's doing the same, no. He's not thought about that yet. He's got some skirms hitting these, which have a couple of pikemen in. And Richard's cavalry got spotted. They pulled back. Speed this up a bit. Richard is into Imperial. They've been a long time in Castle Age, but both sides attacking each other. Meanwhile, Jazz has got some knights in and they're going to hit that gold. The castle will help defend, and look at all those pikemen. Knights got no chance. But they've done well, they knocked out a few villagers. More knights loitering around the outside of Richard's base. But they're not going to cause as much damage. Meanwhile, Richard's pushing through himself, taking out villagers. That's a lot. I see a lot of villagers going down there. Just needs to get them in, get them safe. But she lost a few there. But 36 to 41. Either Richard's lost a few or Jazz has caught up. I think it's more the former. Richard losing quite a few in those raids. But meanwhile, oh, here comes the castle. But Jazz has now spotted it with those elephants, which are going to try and mush that to the ground. And it may go down, but those pikemen may have something to say about it. A little troop down here. Those villagers are going to get hit. They're expecting that. Jazz has now noticed it, and we'll get some those pikemen to support. Meanwhile, that castle's still getting hit by those elephants. And it should go down, which can chance to get those other buildings. Has she seen them now? Yes, she has. She knows they're there. Here she goes. Still there, but look how close it is on score. Very difficult to separate these two at the minute. Have a look at the economies of both. Again, Jazz only 10 fewer villages than Richard now, but Jazz lower on the resources side, which has a bit more stockpiled. He's about to research gunpowder, and as a gunpowder sieve, that could spell trouble for Jazz. Just train up a few more. Trebs are out. Now we're now he's Imperial. Richard's going to get those Trebs and just take that forward base out. Still got men at arms. Richard hasn't used a hell of a lot of infantry. He has got halberdiers. He knows what he needs. Jazz loves a bit of cavalry. Prioritise your upgrades. Alright, those pikemen just following those villages. Try and take a few of them out. Here comes Jazz with a push. Crossbows, pikemen, knights, camels, elephants. Which you soon realised there's a bit more there than there was originally. Monk is out. Maybe look to convert those elephants, but he's been taken down. Those firing on those barracks. Castle's going up from Richard. Knights are in, and surely they've got to hit the villagers. Take them out, take them out. They've gone down, but the castle's going up, and that will help massively with the defence. Jazz will just try and push them through, get to the back of Richard's base, hit the eco at the back. She's lost a lot of troops there. Meanwhile, Richard coming in with the cavalry archers. At the moment they're just hitting that stable, which isn't going to do much. The knights are out now. And setting up another base down here, mining that gold and that stone, creating more villages. Villager count now stands at 63 to 43. Richard's really pulled a few more out the bag. He's still got some garrison there, might want to get them out and working. Well, I think I missed it, but Jazz appears to have got rid of all of Richard's fishing ships. And she's just building more fire galleys at the minute. Oh, brilliant micromanaging there from Richard, hitting those pikemen, stuffing them, and they're all gone. Jazz has cavaliers now. Now that she's into Imperial. Richard's got 13 villages on the go just to try and boom his economy even further. Now up to 80. Almost double what Jazz has. I think Jazz is prioritising military to defend from Richard at this stage. Richard seems to have pulled away on the score somewhat. Just pulling Jazz's troops here and there with those fast moving cavalry. Meanwhile, another base down here, Richard's collecting gold and stone from here. They'll continue to push through with little raiding parties to try and just hit the villages. I think that's the key here, and there we go. One down. Jazz, meanwhile, has the fire ships out. I don't think that building's too important. Richard continuing to raid with cavalry archers and doing a very good job at it. Jazz, meanwhile, oh, he's taken that TC. She's taken that TC down with these cat rams. She may lose the cat rams now, but it's done enough to just prevent Richard from mining that gold for now. While the cavalry archers are making their escape, followed by Jazz's cavaliers. Camels are there to support as well. Richard managing focus shot, getting all of his cavalry archers hit one unit, take it all down one at a time. Halberdiers coming in now will make life tricky for those cavaliers and camels. That looks a bit pinned in there. A lot of toing and throwing in this game. Richard has pulled away on the score now. He's now 2,000 points ahead. It's been balanced for a long time, but look at that villager count. 38 judges onto 112. That economy advantage is going to show very soon. Jazz trying to get the siege workshops up, presumably for more rams. Does favour a siege or a capped ram loaded with units. To 38. Jazz's villager count is only climbing very, very slowly. It's not only on the go. It's going for fishing ships to try and get more food. Meanwhile, Imperial Camel Rider just having a little whack at that siege workshop, which has got plenty of troops ready, plenty of villagers cutting that wood down. A quick look at the military count. Richard with mainly cavalry archers, Jazz with infantry. Cavalry archers out now. Richard grabbed the relic. He's going to head for home. Cavaliers coming in to just support this TC. Here come more cavalry archers doing ever so well with the focus shot on one. Pulling back now. It's very much cat and mouse. Little hit there. Little run, little hit. Run away, little hit, run away. It's becoming a bit of a nuisance for Jazz, those cavalry archers. She's getting the castle up now, which will help defend this area. Jazz just needs to get her villager count up and boom a bit. Getting up to 46 now, but Richard's still leading away with 126. 80 villagers ahead. And it is showing on the eco, you look at that. Huge amount of eco going on, that's soon going to translate into a large army, which may mean the end of Jazz unless she can defend and then boom. Unlike her, she's not walled her main town in, which she does like to do. Richard putting up castles to defend from those fire ships. And this will suit Richard. Jazz unable to really put enough pressure on, just giving Richard time to build up his forces, continue to boom his economy. Look at that, look at these eco counts at the moment. And the score, Richard is really running away with it now. I think if he hit with everything he got now, I think that'd be the end for Jazz. The treads are up, and they're going to hit this forward base first. If that castle goes down, you feel all those troops are going to come swarming in. Castle is down. Oh, brilliant from Jazz, hitting them from behind. I don't think Richard was quite expecting that. The halberdiers beat by the critical mass. Continues to provide support from the main TC, main city. bombard cannons are up. Fantastic mobile siege unit. Very much like a trebuchet. Slightly lower attack, but very mobile. You get a number of them. Siege workshop's gone down. She's got 2 more where that came from. Meanwhile, oh, here we go. This force is gathering. And I think Jazz has resigned. Interesting. I think Jazz probably just realised she didn't have the eco to support. She has lost a lot of. She lost a lot of her villages and things. And there you have it. Richard with a very convincing victory. I think it was so close for most of that game, but I think once Richard was able to boom his economy a bit quicker. Jazz struggled to recover from those raids, and once Richard sort of got a lead on the villager count, he just ran away with it. And it's always an uphill struggle if your economy is, if you're not, if you can't keep up economy-wise, always going to find it difficult. Jazz was still going. She didn't get wiped out, but maybe felt there was no point of really carrying on. She couldn't see a victory happening, and so threw in the towel. Let's have a quick look at the stats before I leave you. As you can see, Richard winning on all scores, apart from society. Jazz leading on that, but the total score is 17,700 to 10,100. Over to military. Richard killed the most, lost the least. Jazz, however, destroyed the most buildings, but she did also lose the most buildings. And Richard's army 30 units larger than Jazz's. Not too long a game, 1 hour 26 minutes. And yeah, you can see that's showing you that eco we talked about. Jazz really struggling. It's very unlike her. I think Richard's early raids cut her off a bit. She was able to get up to castle age before Richard, but I think constant pressure from Richard meant that she struggled to get her economy to boom. I was very surprised she didn't wall up. Richard put the wall up, was able to boom behind it, and then was able to just keep Jazz. Maybe it was just the constant pressure that stopped Jazz from being able to wall herself in. As you can see, Richard first to feudal 11:26, a decent time. Jazz beating Richard though to castle, and then Richard up to imperial first. As for society, Jazz did win on the society count. I think that's for the most castles, although Richard collected 4 relics. I think it's all of the ones on the map, and collected the most gold and had the most villages. And there is your timeline. You can just see from the start, you can see how level it is, and then suddenly Richard gets bigger and bigger, and then it's, it says it all really. But a fantastic 1v1, very close encounter, but Richard is the victor. Thank you for watching. Tune in next time for another small pond replay.